This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions coming to you about Social Security. And I've done so many videos on pensions, Social Security, because I believe this is one of the largest problems that we're going to deal with in our lifetime. And I mean our lifetime, and they can't keep this under wraps. It's just keep unfolding and just not dealing with this, and it keeps exploding. But Social Security will cross another dangerous milestone next year. Came across this article from Sovereign Man. Encourage you to put a link inside the description. Let's dive right into it. But encourage you to read this fully at your leisure. In the year 1980, according to census records, my great-grandfather was spending the final years of his life living with one of his children on a farm in Choctaw County, Oklahoma. I spent most of the last 20 years doing some hardcore research into my family history, and I identified records going all the way back to 1250 in England. And one common thing that I've noticed, when people reach a certain age, they almost invariably move in with their kids and grandkids. Good point. This is what retirement used to mean. It was simply expected that younger generations would look after older generations. And back then, since houses were quite large, there were usually 4 to 6 other people in the home to look after great-great-grandpa. This arrangement might sound quaint and outdated, but it's still the fundamental premise behind many retirement plans, including Social Security in the land of the free. Interesting. It's still the younger generations taking care of the older generations. That's the way the system functions. Younger people pay taxes to fund benefits for older people who have retired. So you can see the similarities. Hundreds of years ago, it would be your kids doing the work to take care of you in retirement. Today, it's everyone's kids collectively doing the work to take care of every retiree. Hundreds of years ago, it took several other people in a household to care for the elderly. Today, it takes a certain number of workers paying into the system to support each retiree reaching benefits. See how he's going in transition here. They call this worker to retire ratio, and the Social Security Administration, SSA, has said that they need a minimum of 2.8 workers paying into the system for every one retiree collecting benefits. You can probably see that maintaining this delicate balance requires steady population growth. Every generation has to be large enough to support the previous generation. If population growth trends get too far out of whack, it means there will be either too few workers or too many retirees. And that's exactly what's happening now. People are simply having fewer children. That is so true. In the land of the free, birth rates are the lowest levels ever since they started keeping records decades ago. And it's been a long-term problem. Fertility rates were already in decline when the 2008 financial crisis accelerated the trend. Researchers estimate that 4.8 million babies were never born as a result of the Great Recession. Wow. Some of the reasons are pretty obvious. Kids are expensive, and they aren't getting any cheaper. You used to be able to raise a family with a single income. Today, the average household can afford 1, maybe 2 kids, and that's with both parents working. Unsurprisingly, as the fertility rate has fallen over the years, so has Social Security's worker to retire ratio. It is already dangerously low. And next year, there will be just 2.7 workers paying into Social Security for each retiree, below the minimum necessary to sustain the program. I'll repeat this again. In 2020, I'm putting a date to this. This is 2019 when it was been written. There will be just 2.7 workers paying in Social Security for each retiree, below the minimum necessary to sustain the program. After that, it will keep falling. In 2034, when Social Security estimates that trust funds will be run out of money, there will only be 2.3 workers per retiree. And just to pile it on, technological automation is poised to radically change the workforce. It already has. In 10 to 15 years, you'll see entire professions replaced by robots and AI, neither of which pays into the Social Security system. So true. It's not just the U.S. that's grappling with this either. Finland's fertility rate is below the U.S. rate. They base their healthcare system on the same faulty assumption that the population continue to grow. Yet now there aren't enough young people paying in the system to support the older people who use more healthcare. Most of Europe is even worse off. The combined EU fertility rate is 1.59 babies over the course of a woman's lifetime, well below replacement levels. Japan is far more restrictive on immigration compared to the US and EU, and is on the cutting edge of automation. Japan's fertility rate is just 1.4 and has one of the oldest populations in the world. The one-child policy that China had in place for decades is already putting a strain on the burgeoning middle class. By 2050, 44% of the population expected to be dependent early. 44% of the population expected to be dependent elderly. Wow. We talk about this just so much because it's important to recognize that monumental change is coming. Can't stress this enough. We talk about this issue so much because it's important to recognize that monumental change is coming. The entire way retirement is structured since long before Social Security is coming to an end. You can't rely on the next generation for retirement anymore. To be secure, you have to take matters in your own hands. If you retire now or about to retire, you might be fine. Stress it again, you might be fine. You can probably ride it out before the entire system has to reset. But if you're 50 or younger, Social Security will run out of money before you're able to start collecting. The younger you are, the surer you can be that the retirement system won't be available to you. But that also means you have to do something about it. Some countries have options for self-directed retirement accounts. In the U.S., a solo 401k is a great option for anyone with side or self-employment income. Something to look into. In addition to the flexibility and freedom you have to invest in with a solo 401k, you get to contribute money before it's taxed. That's important because, unfortunately, you're still going to be expected to pay into Social Security even though you might never collect it. And as the politicians try desperately to save these programs, you can expect to pay higher taxes. And money you can't save on taxes and funnel into your private retirement account will be compounded year after year instead of flushed down the toilet. And there's absolutely no downside in doing this. Worst case scenario, Social Security is miraculously saved, and you have extra money for your retirement. Not exactly a bad outcome. So he's giving you a plan, an alternative to think about. Check out a recent podcast to see how you can use a solo 401k to tuck some extra money away from retirement. Something you might want to take a look into. And continue learning how to ensure that I have no matter what happens in the next world. All right. How to ensure you thrive no matter what happens next in the world. I encourage you to download our free Perfect Plan B guide. Folks, this is just fascinating, the time that we're in, and we need to really look at things differently. But if you're dependent on Social Security and you think you're getting ready to that retirement age where this is going to be part of your plan for retirement, and as he mentioned here, you may just get away if you've already retired or getting ready to retire now. But I don't even know how long that's going to last, especially with these numbers and what's changing. So this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments, and to my next video, I'm out.